It's a great day, Shay Brown. Where did I get that from, right? But where did you, every time I've encountered you, and we've been knowing each other about 14, 15 years now,
Yeah.
if not right around 15, 16 years. And ever since that time I first met you, that's been your greeting, that's been your energy, your spirit. When I talk to you on the phone, the first thing you say is great day, Brother Bedford. So where did the great day uh salutation come from?
Yeah. So there I was, by the way. I'd been laid off. I started my company and I got my first gig, Brother Bedford. I was going to be speaking at the University of District of Columbia to their honor society about business. Now, I'd never spoken before in my life. I was being paid $100, by the way. It's like a stipend. $100 was $1 million back in 2024. 2004. And I was
Right.
excited. And I'm going somewhere with the story. And so I had a problem. The problem I had was, what was I going to say? Right? Because I didn't really have any original content. So I called a guy by the name of Dr. Willie Jolly. He was Willie Jolly then. Today he's called Dr. Willie Jolly. He's a good friend of mine. I called him. It's about 11:30, 11:45 at night. I didn't think he was going to answer, but he was good friends with my brother. My brother said, you should call this guy. So I said, fine. When you're young like that, man, you just, you don't look at the time. Like, I'm going to call him.
Right.
I'll leave a message. I call, and Dr. Willie answers the phone. He says, it's a great day, Dr. Willie. It's a great day, Willie Jolly. I said, okay, it's Shay Brown. I got a quick question. And I said, first, I'm surprised you even up. And he said, well, I'm going to give you some advice right now, young man. I don't even know you. I'll tell you one thing. You got to howl with the owls if you want to fly with the eagles. And just the way he came across lifted my spirits. Because, back then, if you called someone and you wasn't in their coaching program, first, you better not call them if you are in their coaching program. But if you're not, you darn sure don't call them. And he took the call, and it was that energy. And what I took from him that day was that every day, every moment is just a great day to be alive. It just felt better. It just felt good to me. So I asked him, we finished the call. I said, man, I like how you started. It's a great day. And I want to adopt that as my personal mantra. Do you mind if I say it's a great day, man? Because just saying that just makes me feel good. It does something for me. I don't care about the other person. Yeah. And he said, Jay, of course. I got him somewhere. I have no idea. But you tell him Willie Jolly told you it's a great day. You tell him Willie Jolly told you you got to hustle to win. And every time you say it's a great day, you better remember, you got to hustle to win. You got to hustle to win. And so it was from that moment that I took not so much the energy, but the concept. And what it's done for me is in very dark times, when I want to give up on the business, in very dark times in my life, whenever I open my eyes from a nap or in the morning, I always tell myself, it's a great day. To myself, I added, it's a great day to be alive. To everyone else, I just say, it's a great day. But to myself, I say, it's a great day to be alive. Brother Bedford, every morning, 170,000 people don't wake up. Okay, you can go Google that. So it's a very serious conversation. So to be alive, I have my health and my strength. The older I get, the more I believe every moment of every minute indeed is a great day. So it's not just a mantra, it's a belief that I have deep down inside my soul.
Man, well, I can honestly tell you, and of course, we're speaking of none other than the legendary Dr. Willie Jolly, beautiful, beautiful human being. But you've carried that energy and spirit well, brother, because again, ever since I've met you, that's been the energy and the spirit that you've conveyed. And it's always lifted the room, right? Like you said, even when someone has they're not feeling as great, maybe a somber mood or whatever the case may be, say, hey, Shay Brown, you're like, it's a great day. And the whole energy of the room changed, man. So I applaud you. And I've actually started stealing that myself from you. But I would always say, as my good friend Shay Brown would say, it's a great day. And
I
get
borrowed
right.
it from Dr. Jolly. I passed it on to you. And it wasn't like this is a marketing plan or a business plan or a branding plan. It's just what it is. And now, it just become over the last 20 years, it just becomes a part of my DNA. And it's kind of funny because my cousin would call me, like, what's up, cuz? I'm not going to hear it's a great day. I don't get to hear that today. I'm like, shorty, cuz, it's my cuz, So
Now people are expecting it, right? They're expecting it.
Yeah.
This is
It's kind of
awesome,
funny.
man. Yeah, and you and I before we got on the camera here, we were talking about we literally, haven't had just a good conversation well, in front of people, right? You and I talk periodically about different things. And of course, we'll dive into some of those things in this call. But we hadn't really just had a great conversation for people to kind of peek in and kind of hear what we're talking about. I want to really get your thoughts and ideas on some of the things that are happening today, and in particular in the area of sales, this skill. So the bio will be attached below for you. I want you to go and study Shay's bio. I mean, it's lengthy, a lot of highlights in there for you to kind of take a peek at and say, you know what, I didn't know that someone could do this or do that. You've been an innovator in this space. You, myself, and a few others, when we met through, of course, a dear friend of ours, another legend, is Dr. George C. Frazier, right? So we kind of met. And when I met you then, you were one of the innovators of what was called the Evergreen revenue model, where you help people scale their businesses to 6 and 7 figures. So first, tell me about that concept, right? Because most of the people who we encounter in just business in general, when you start talking about an evergreen revenue model, that's something new and fresh. So can you just kind of speak to that real quick?
Sure. For those folks that are listening, when you're in business, for all the entrepreneurs that are out there, by the way, if you're a CEO or author or a coach or a speaker, you own a brick and mortar, I think this is going to be very perfect for you, because when I first got started in business, it was all about, how do I make some money, right? How do I make a sale? And that sale included me doing something or having a conversation with someone. And, back in the day, and it still is that way, I don't think face-to-face sales will go out of style. It was all about nose to nose, toes to toes, over a kitchen table, if you would, having a conversation. And thinking about it, I said, when the internet came along, whoa, it sounds like I'm really old, by the way.
Yeah,
when the internet came along, by the way, and really got into business, you could step back and you could say, well, how do I do something one time?
Right.
And my labor is no longer involved. That's the concept. Now, back then, the conversation was around rinse and repeat. I would go to one coaching conference after another coaching conference, and the buzzword was rinse and repeat. That means you do something again, and then you do it again. You find something that works, and you do it again. Now, I think that works. But one of the things we made it to do is be a paradigm shift in this industry of sales, by the way. And I'm part of the LL Cool J generation, by the way. I got remix version on everything. So I said, well, let me remix that rinse and repeat. I like the rinse. I don't like the repeat. Okay? I like there's the blueprint, but I don't want my labor to be there, by the way. I like the idea success leaves clues, but what if I can get success again and not include me? And so that's why I said, well, Evergreen became the idea that came out. I heard the idea Evergreen from a sales view of the world. And here's something I want your audience to know, and I don't want to talk too much about sales, but sales is the oxygen for every great business in history. So when I heard Evergreen, I didn't hear something that comes again, the life that comes again, that comes again. What I heard was, I can make sales and my labor not be there, and it can happen again and again and again. So Evergreen revenue. I mean, it just made sense and sense. Can I say that again? It made sense and sense. And so hence the Evergreen revenue model was kind of just an idea or a concept. And inside there, here's the premise. And I want you to get this, because you can apply it to any area of your life, but as it relates to business, I put together infrastructure, a strategy, a system. I do it one time, I walk away from it, and it goes on without my ongoing supervision. Isn't that like a pretty cool concept? And so that's where the Evergreen revenue model is coming from. The 6 to 7 figures back in 2004 when I first got started, 99.9% of coaches were not making $100,000 in a year. Today, 99.99% of coaches are not making $100,000 20 years later in a year. But it is possible, and we've done it, to make $100,000 in a day. For some folks, in an hour, but we've done it in a day. That's where the Evergreen revenue model came from. Leveraging technology, leveraging systems, bringing those together with a strategy, and hence you have the Evergreen revenue model to generate revenue in your business. So that's how it kind of got started, just listening at a conference, man, and hearing and seeing things a little differently than everyone else around me.
No, that's awesome, man. And you said you don't want to talk too much about sales. No, that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about sales. I got one of the leading voices, sales experts on the planet, in my estimation, and there's no way that you and I are going to get on here and not talk about sales and give me an opportunity to extract some of these golden nuggets from you to kind of share with the listening audience. So yeah, we're going to talk a whole lot about sales. Because in fact, after the Evergreen revenue model, I mean, you moved into building probably several companies, but the one that I know that you're really known for recently is the easysaleshub.com. And of course, that focuses on sales and helping entrepreneurs and business owners and companies, larger companies, to generate leads, conversions, and all of that. So talk about the Easy Sales Hub so that people can understand. Then I'm going to ask you a few questions about the importance of learning the sales skills from an entrepreneurial perspective. But talk about the easysaleshub.com.
Sure. The number one challenge facing entrepreneurs today is just not having enough revenue to purchase the resources that are necessary to execute the big vision they have for the people they were called to serve. And you as an entrepreneur that's sitting there right now, and our business person at heart, it takes resources, right, to execute the vision that's been given to you. And those resources include, you don't maybe have enough money to hire an assistant, some case enough money to hire the right marketing program or the right branding program or the right PR program, just not enough money to do the things you want to do. And so one of the things we said is, well, how do we solve that? But do it in a way that sets up your sales department. And you relate to this, even if you're not in sales, you relate to this, by the way. You relate to this because we're all in sales, by the way. You think about this for a moment. I'm going to answer your question, but I want to make sure we understand we're all in sales. Whether you're so let me say this every day. Preachers every single day get up every weekend, they're selling faith. But they don't see themselves in sales, by the way, to let you know that. Teachers get up every single day and they're out there, and I'm a father, by the way, and now I'm a grandfather, by the way. And so every day teachers, bless their heart, they go to school, the lowest paid on the payroll, and they're teaching education. Wow. Yeah. Are they not selling? That's a hard sell to those kids, by the way. Or parents. I'm a parent. Some of you are parents, or your uncles or aunts or nieces or nephews, or you have your mentees. And parents every single day are selling faith. I'm sorry, they're selling values. So you as an individual, as a leader of one, that's yourself. Every single day you're selling yourself, right? You're selling yourself, or you're going to do something or you're not going to do something. You're telling yourself you're going to take action or you're not going to take action. How does that relate to the Easy Sales Hub? Well, we reached a point where in the beginning, Brother Bedford, we were out and our whole model was helping individuals understand how they as an individual could sell. So how they can have three things that it takes as a salesperson. They could have the inner game, which is the right mindset, the right belief systems, have that comfort zone to go out there and say, I've got to go talk to someone today. Sales. Number two, there's only three ways to elevate their sales results. Number two was the outer game. And that's when Easy Sales Hub gets in place. But the outer game was all the tactical things they had to do. In life, it might be your time management, your goal setting, generating leads, setting appointments, by the way, following up with people. Those are outer game. They're tactical things. You have tactical things in life, by the way. Maybe one thing is you got to exercise. Tactical. Eating the right foods, probably the biggest poison out there. I shouldn't say that. That's another conversation. But that's tactical. And then the third fundamental way was taking action. And so our goal was action is moving yourself to do the things you already know you should do. You know how that works? Right. And so in doing that, we discovered that once folks understood how they could sell, then the question was, what can they do with their sales department? Because you think about it, as an entrepreneur, you didn't get in this business to be the number one salesperson, although you probably will be for long because you're the visionary. This is your mission. You believe it deeper than anyone else. So we gravitated, and this is what happens in life and in business. My doctors calls it a rites of passage, by the way. I have my AARP card these days, by the way. And so I had another test, a colonoscopy not too long ago, 4 or 5 years, another one coming up. But anyway, Mr. Brown, it's just a rites of passage. And business is like that. There's rites of passages. So I kind of went from this teaching and in the field, there's nothing wrong with that. Many of my colleagues teach people the skills of selling to shifting and saying, you're building a business. What about the sales department? What are the people that are needed in the sales department? What are the sales processes needed in the sales department? And last, what is the sales resources that was needed in the sales department to support the overall company? And I know you didn't get it. You laughed earlier when I said sales is the oxygen for every great business in history, and it's true. But maybe you'll catch this concept, and this is what Easy Sales Hubs will do. When you don't have sales, there's more money going out than there is coming in. Mm-hmm. So one of the things we said is, let's create this thing called Easy Sales Hub, because I believe that every day is a vacation day when you're making sales. Yeah. And it should be easy, like Sunday morning. It should be effortless, and it should be you're just solving a problem in the planet. And with that, I said, well, I want to create a sales department for those folks who don't want to sell, or the time has come for them to hire a team to do the sales for them. But they needed a structure in place. Now, why do you say that? Put this in your notes if you're taking notes. And I'm glad you're with the masters of business. And I'm giving some technical stuff here because we got the one and only Brother Bedford on the other side, right? So I got to give you this mastery level side. And here it is. Success is a team sport. You can only get so far by yourself. So I had to go from saying, hey, you, the entrepreneur, this is what you can do, to saying, no. The highest and best use of your time is building a sales team and having a structure like a hub that either sell for you or put together the sales strategy. Hear me. The sales message. Hear me. Different than your marketing mumbo jumbo, different than your PR mumbo jumbo. That's needed. But the sales message is entirely different. Let me frame it for them if I can. The marketing and PR is important. That's taking someone on a date. And I'm married, by the way. I'm happily married. But if you're not married, you want to go on a date, you ask someone to go on a date. If you're paying, you're buying, they might be flying wherever you want to go, okay? That's one conversation. But there's another conversation when you're selling to say, will you marry me? Isn't that a different conversation? So the sales message, and then you have to have some type of sales system in place. That's where Easy Hub came into place. It helps you generate leads so you can get in front of people who have a problem. Number two, your company has an appointment with someone who has a problem that says, how can you solve it? And then third, to be able to get the deal done. And so we created Easy Sales Hub to be that infrastructure for folks so they could outsource their sales to another company who could take over their sales department while they went and did other areas in the business. That's how Easy Sales Hub was created. We're really excited about it. We're in another evolution. I don't know if I told you that, where you got an exclusive here. We're moving from Easy Sales Hub, which is that whole infrastructure you need, to CEO Sales Agency. And that gives an opportunity to work directly with the CEO and be that person that wants to duplicate themselves. We're going to duplicate them inside of the sales department. Isn't that kind of cool? And again, it's another evolution, and that's what business is about. You're either growing or you're dying, but very seldom are you just stagnant. Very seldom. If you're stagnant, you're slowly dying. I just want you to know that. Anyway, back over to you. I know it's a long-winded answer, but I wanted them to understand the importance of having a system in place. I'll make this point for your viewers on the Master of Business. It's one of our 12 rules for life. We got 12 rules for life, but here's one of them, and that is systems beat goals every single time. Systems beat goals every single time. Why, Shay, would you ask? Because systems are duplicatable, systems are repeatable, and systems is something you can give to someone else. So think of Easy Sales Hub as putting together your sales system with one mission, and that is to get the revenue to $100,000 plus a month of consistent, predictable, reliable revenue. Now, for some folks, $100,000 plus doesn't excite you. So you double the number, make it 200 or 300 or 400. For others, wow, it's a great goal. And some would be happy with just 50 grand, to be honest with you. But so we do have a mission.
You say 100 grand a month. There are a lot of entrepreneurs who haven't gotten to the level of incorporating team or team building, where 100,000 a month could seem scary. But I love the idea of putting it out there, a bigger goal. But you're so right that some would be satisfied and say, man, if I can do 10 grand a month, right? But even then, it doesn't happen without sales. I mean, you said so much. I mean, you packed a lot in there. So again, that link, Easy Sales Hub, there's going to be somewhere around this video, somewhere around up above.
Yes, that works. That goes right to it.
Yeah, just make sure you go to easysaleshub.com to get more information on that. Now, I want to you to kind of just set the base, really, Shay, and kind of talk about all of the things that you're doing with your company and easysaleshub.com. And as you mentioned, the evolution and again, we can really unpack that and go into the different people you've worked with and all of that. But you've laid some you've planted some seeds, and I kind of want to see if we can dig a few of those up that you kind of shared, because I think it's critical for those who are still probably struggling with the idea of sales, right? You know, this sales thing intimidates a lot of people, and I've encountered entrepreneurs on a daily basis who would love to do everything else in their business except sell something. So you kind of planted the seed. And I just want to ask you, do you have and I hate to use this term, this is one of these new internet marketing terms that is probably overused, but I think it's appropriate for, for the sake of time. I want you to what is a mindset hack that you can share with the audience to get them acclimated to wanting to sell? Right. You mentioned having the mindset. That was one of those phases, right? And a lot of what is the hack to help people get into the mindset of sales?
So there I was struggling. I've been struggling because I hadn't focused on sales, by the way. I'd been in business over a year. No, by then about 2 or 3 years, by the way. And my business had cycles, just like anything else in life, by the way. And I was having a conversation with one of my mentors. His name is Myron Golden, by the way, for those who might know him. And we were having lunch, by the way. And one of the things I mentioned, I was talking about the challenges. And I believe in sales, right? I'm a guy that knows the importance of it. I know it has to get done. And I was talking about all the things that we needed to do, right? We was buying some new equipment, wanted to get a website updated. We had hired a virtual assistant. We had brought on a little team over here. And one thing that he said to me that stood, because I don't want to convince you to sell. If you don't want to sell, then, every morning we have something called the CEO Sales Huddle. And I share this as a personal mantra. I always say, focus on sales, focus on sales, focus on sales. But I share this, that has shifted a number of entrepreneurs' mindset. If you can't focus on sales, you can't be in business. Now, I'm going to say it again. Just, you're not going to shout. You're not going to jump up and down. You might even get excited about it. But I want you to hear this, not as a hack, but as a mantra. Like every single morning, you say, what should I do? Focus on sales. I'm going to say it again. If you can't focus on sales, I didn't say you have to sell. I didn't say you have to go out there and get on the phone and call people. But I'll tell you this. If you can't focus on sales, you can't be in business. Why? Here's the big why. And here's what I got from Myron. It's a one-liner. You only need one sentence. Like, you think about how many ideas do you need to change your life? Really? One. When you show up at the Masters of Business, you just need one idea. Why, Shay? Because one good idea implemented, you might want to put that down in your notes for those that are taking notes. One good idea implemented is better than 1,000 ideas you know right now. And one of the benefits I love connecting with Brother Bedford is that when he brings folks together on this call, or this broadcast, if you're fortunate to get your hands on, maybe you're in the archives, you got the long lost file, you're going to get at least 25 plus ideas. But you only need one. Now, I'm going to go to one about, he said, a mind hack around sales. Here's why it's important. Now, you got the thing earlier, right? You might want to write that down. If you can't focus on sales, you can't be in business. Here's why. Because sales will solve any business problem. In fact, you talking about you have a mindset. You need a mindset hack. Sales will probably solve 99% of the problems that you might have right now for many folks. I'll give you an example. Not all of them. Obviously, it's not going to be everything. But you might agree, money's not everything, but cash flow solves a lot of problems. Can someone agree with you on that? Can someone agree on that? Maybe right now you want to retire, but you can't retire because there's not enough money. Well, you make more sales. Guess what? You can retire. Maybe you want to leave your 9-to-5 job right now. You don't have to focus on sales. It's okay to stay at your job. But if you made more sales, served more people, made a difference in the lives of other folks, you could leave your 9-to-5. If you have kids and maybe they're going to college, or you want to move to a zip code you prefer. Let's say it's a good thing or bad thing where you live. You just want to be in a different zip code, right? What does it take? It takes sales. It takes revenue. It takes money. I'm blessed, Brother Bedford. You talk mindset hack. I don't know if they need one, but I'm going to tell you this. Mother dear is 77 years old. Her name is Dr. Cammy B. Jeffers. She worked for 37 years for the federal government. Same building on 14th Street down in Washington, D.C. on Pennsylvania Avenue at the Department of Commerce. Can you imagine that? 37 years in the same building, different floors, but the same building. She retired at 55. Now, most folks can't retire at any age. 55, retired, never worked another day in her life. Okay, now how she did, I have no idea, but mother saved. She did what she had to do. But today she has Parkinson's. Okay, so she's not able to move the way she has been in the past. And so with the medication, a lot of different things going on, here's the point I want to make about money. And maybe you have someone dependent on you. She decided where she wanted to go, and now she's in a senior home, which she loves, by the way. It's like Disney World, but how many know that thing ain't free? The place that she wanted to go to. So I'm blessed to be in a position to have a company, because this was the fastest way to financial freedom, to be able to write a check to help Mother Dear do what she's doing. And she has a long-term care policy. She has a good retirement. But how many know the gap? Maybe you haven't been there yet, and maybe this is a stretch for me. Think of private school, okay? It's a gap there, okay? It's like college. I'll put it like that. More expensive than college, actually. And so my point to you is, if you need a mindset hack, then business just might not be for you. Okay. But if you have some problems you want to solve, I'll say it like this. If you want to have more meaning in the world, because you are here for a reason other than yourself, make more money. You're going to have more meaning and help more people. If you want to have more impact, because you want to write a check for causes you believe in, take care of family members and those beyond family and those in the community, write a check. My father, Marshall Brown, is no longer here, passed away May of 2017. Now, he's totally different from Mother Dear. They were divorced, by the way. He divorced when I was 6 years old. Dad was a revolutionist, a Black Panther, by the way. He was a civil rights movement guy. Didn't have a job, just in I never knew how him and my mom got together. You would think bad boy and my mom. My mom's a bishop of Pentecostal church, okay? That tells you, no idea, none idea. My mother says to this day, I have no idea. Okay, but I will say this about Father. He gave me a lot of things that I learned from him, although he's no longer here. He used to always say in the civil rights movement that he was out on the front lines picketing, and that was important during that time. It's important now probably as well, but very important. But he always said, son, when your day comes, if you can't be on the front lines, write the check. Because we needed folks to write the check for the food, for the bus rides, to get us out of jail, for the legal fence. So what can money do for you? Make more income, you have more impact. You need a hack. Let me give you one more, because I'm a good friend of mine. And these aren't hacks. These are just what has worked for me and many of my private clients, because I don't want to convince you to sell. I want to say, well, you got to go sell. If you don't do it, you have to. No. You get up in the morning, it be all that you need. Okay, that's all you got to pay your mortgage, right? You want to have good health care. All you might need is what? Well, all you might need to have good health care is to go to the doctor. So I'll say what my good friend, his name is Dr. Delator McNeil, something that I learned from him, by the way. And I'm a student like Brother Bedford. That's what I like about the masters of business. They don't have to be our ideas to work, but we apply them. And this shifted my trajectory. He says this, Shay, it's possible to make $1 and a difference at the same time. And I put the Shay Brown remix on it. When I have more dollars, I make a bigger difference. So if you need a hack and you want to do something for someone other than yourself, do that. And you won't just be flying first class. You won't just be flying, upgrading and being in 5-star hotels. You won't be the one that's eating at restaurants where they have the white tablecloths and bring out everything before you, by the way. No. They won't be delivering the cars just to your house. That's amazing. It's incredible. You won't just be renovating your house and your neighbor's house, or my friend buying the lots next door so nobody's living next to you. No. You write a check for someone else. You need a reason to get in sales? That's one of the reasons I would do it. Unlimited financial potential, and the fastest way to financial freedom for myself, it was having a business doing good for others. Now, if you have a resistance, you're like, Shay, that's not a hack. That doesn't help me out. I'll tell you this, and this is the number one reason why I love selling. I don't know if you know the story, Brother Bedford. When I got laid off back in 2004. I only worked for 2 companies my whole career. I worked for Citibank after undergraduate, went to Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland. Shout out to all the HBCUs. And then after graduate school, I went to Johns Hopkins University, which is in Baltimore, Maryland. I started my own company when I got laid off, right? And I was struggling when I got laid off. Man, I had a year's severance. I thought I was rich. How many people know you ain't rich? But I thought I was rich because I was getting paid. I mean, I had 11 months. When you're a young whippersnapper, that's a long time. Ran out of money, borrowed money from my brother, $5,000. Don't judge me. I didn't pay him back, so don't even ask me that question. To go to this get-rich scheme, he thought. I was going to a guy named Eric Loftholm. He was all the way in California, 2004. Eric will tell you today, if you ever hear him talk to me, he'll say his #1 student of all time is Shay Brown. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you. But anyway, I was there for $5,000 as a student. And there's only 4 of us there. And I'm like, golly, only 4 of us? I thought it was going to be packed up in this joker. And he said, Shay, I got an idea. I'm like, here we go, another idea. Why don't you focus on sales? Sales? I'm not doing no freaking sales. I'm a business consultant. You know what I mean? Years I went to school to be a freaking business consultant. You want me to be a salesperson? You only be a salesperson when you freaking, you can't do anything else. That's what I thought. Okay, that's what I really believed. And he gave me 3 words that just changed my life in that conversation. He said, well, why don't you look at it differently? I said, okay, $5,000, hope you got a better idea than this. And he said, selling equals service. Selling equals service. What? No, selling equals service. When you're selling someone, you're serving them because you're helping them solve a problem. And people will pay you today if you help them solve a problem today. Would you like to be in the problem-solving business? Now, me, I had never heard it phrased that way. I said to myself, well, I can serve. I want to sell. I want to convince, persuade anybody to do anything. I don't even want to do that. I'm a high introvert. If you ever see me and I'm not doing what I'm doing now, I'm probably the quietest person around, okay? And but when I adopted that philosophy, and this is the hack I want to share, brother, and this is for the masters of business, by the way. This is very important. This might be all you need. 1 idea. How many ideas need to change your life? 1. How many? 1. You just need 1. Adopt the mindset. Now, you can do that. It doesn't cost you anything. Don't have to download no software, no app needed, no upgrade on your iPhone or Android or whatever you believe. This is the mindset that selling equals service. And every day, when you get up as an entrepreneur, you have 2 responsibilities. 1 is you're in front of people who have a problem. That's your #1 responsibility. How can I get myself through the power of these fiber optic lines like Brother Bedford and I are doing right now? And many of you can see me, but I can't see you, but I'm in front of you now. And when you get in front of them, you share how you're solving a problem on this planet. That's your #1 responsibility as a CEO. Like, you don't have anything else to do. And when you're not talking to people about how you solve a problem, either face-to-face, nose-to-nose, toes-to-toes, through a video camera, through online and groups, it doesn't matter. When you're not doing that as a CEO, what's your next best responsibility? Now, I'm not even talking about the sales department. I'm talking about you as a CEO. Your next best responsibility is to be looking and have systems in place through the sales department to find people who have an interest, want, or need, or a problem. I say interest, wants, or need, Brother Bedford, because when I first started, I was taught you got to find somebody to buy, and you fall up till they buy or die. And what I learned, that don't work. Because people can have a need to do something and not do it. Somebody right now has a need to lose weight, and guess what? You're not at the gym. It's not a good thing or bad thing. No, I'm not judging you. Someone right now might have a need to spend less than you make, but yet you look at your bank account and it doesn't reflect how good you are as an entrepreneur, and only you can give yourself a raise by serving more people. Isn't that kind of cool? Like, you can give yourself a raise right now. You don't have to wait the government to save you. Doesn't matter who's in office. You can say, I'm giving myself a raise right now because I'm going down to my sales department and I'm going to personally get involved. Now, maybe you are the only person in the company. So just look in the mirror. It's not what's going on in the government. It's not what's going on in the economy, because people are buying. Buyers are buying, sellers are selling, and nothing else matters right now. And so where I was going with that, Brother Bedford, another long-winded answer, was bringing folks back to the concept that selling equals service. And where I got that from is I was watching a guy named Michael Jordan. So I got the concept from Eric Lofholm right away, but I gave it the Shay Brown remix version over time, obviously, because when I was watching Michael Jordan, you might say, Michael Jordan, Shay, what's it got to do with Michael Jordan? Michael Jordan, just know he's a great basketball player. Would say of all time, but I'm a Kobe fan. Somebody's a LeBron fan. So as I get older, I can't say of all time anymore. I'm past that. But anyway, just watching Michael Jordan, he's won a lot of championships, MVPs, a lot of awards. And the reporter was asking him after he was Michael Jordan, he was MJ when he played, but Michael Jordan as we know him now. And they said, Michael, how did you become so great? See, you're one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time. Now, Michael Jordan, I can't do his voice. He was sitting back. And you know what Michael Jordan said to him? And this applies to you as a CEO. Like, it's called best practices. Like, you can take a best practice somewhere else and apply it. And that's so cool in your own business. He said, well, it was pretty easy for me. I only had 2 jobs. Now, I told you earlier, as a CEO, you only got 2 jobs. He said, I only got 2 jobs. My first job is every day to play basketball at the highest level possible. So if I'm in a game, I'm playing basketball at the highest level possible. Like you as a CEO, you're in front of people who have a problem. Or if I'm not playing basketball at the highest level, you know what I'm doing? I'm practicing so I can play basketball at the highest level. For you as a CEO, that is, I'm finding people who have problems so I can let them know what I do. So that's the word that I will leave for everyone out there, is that selling is about service. And if you go to bed at night and you put your head on the pillow, I sleep well at night when I know I've asked people if I can help them.
Yeah.
And if you're going to bed at night, you're not asking somebody if you can help them, you're not in front of people who can help them, don't worry about selling. Find someone who has a problem. Make a difference in the world. Back over to you, Brother Bedford. I'm going to rant. He said we're going to have a conversation. I'm talking to Brother Bedford like it's he and I. You get to eavesdrop on this conversation. I hope you enjoy it, because this is like off the cuff, but it's real.
No, you can tell you had a lot of stuff bottled up, right? It's time to get it out of you. So that's what this does. We help to kind of draw it out of you. And you've laid so many. I mean, we can talk for hours, and I know we don't have. We want to be respectful of the time, but you said something that I do want to ask you about, especially considering today's, the internet, the digital space. We got AI and all types of things happening. But I want to talk about adapting to the modern buyer, because you mentioned something there about, something that they used to say with sales, just follow until they die, right? But and you're right, you can't really do that today. So with the rise of the digital tools that we have today, the new technologies, AI, and also the changing behaviors of customers, right? Now before people were just customers and they didn't have a lot of information. There was no Google for them to do the research and all of that. What do you believe is the most significant shift that we as CEOs and entrepreneurs should make in our sales approach since we have a new modern buyer?
Sure. So I was having a conversation with one of my clients. They sell something called a premium product, and that is they do consulting at $10,000 to $15,000 or more. And they had a question very similar to Brother Bever's, a little bit differently asked, which was they weren't making any sales, by the way, and not the sales they wanted to make. And we were having a conversation about what they were saying in their sales message is they were communicating one-to-one, and you could say one-to-many, but in this case, after someone had come through their system, they were having conversations because they had to customize helping someone when you're selling a $10,000 plus product. And it's applicable to Brother Bedford because this person is like Brother Bedford, been in business for a number of years, seen the changes in the season, has been able to adapt. We do a business case study every morning on a CEO Sales Huddle. I've done over 258 as of today, by the way, a 2-minute thing. And every company that I study and I share with how sales strategy or sales systems or sales process they've used, everyone has gone through this type of shift. This is not a new thing. Buyers change, markets change, conditions change, competitors come in. But there is a shift, and I'm part of this paradigm shift. I'm part of the paradigm shift of entrepreneurs who outsource their sales teams to us. And so when that question is asked, Brother Bedford, that he asked, I'm going to answer the way I answered to him. And here's what I believe the big change is. Again, it's a Shay Brown remix, okay? So you don't have to believe me, okay? But it works, I'll tell you that. So the old way, and the old way was just a year or two ago, okay? So now I'm talking about 20 years ago, about 2 years ago, post-pandemic. Many of the gurus in my industry, and I respect all of them, okay, they were teaching, help someone get out of a pain or have pleasure. It was about pain or pleasure. When you're communicating in sales, you're communicating your marketing. If you got a pain, I can help you. If you want more pleasure, I can help you. And it was what you said on the other side, Brother Beth, because you somehow had the golden key to the answers that they didn't know. Okay, and that worked. But let me give you the Shea Brown remix version. The remix version, this is the difference. This is where we go from today and beyond. That might shift again, but as of this recording, today and beyond, the Shea Brown remixes, people, yeah, pain and pleasure is cool, but here's the next level. People buy for two reasons. There's a lot of reasons, but I think these are two primaries to stay with the P's. They buy for, number one, for your perspective on how to solve the problem. They want your perspective. Now, people can only get your perspective from your company, okay? They can get the answer from anywhere, but they want your perspective. I want Brother Bever's perspective. He only has it in his head, right? That's number one. And number two, and this is the number one reason above all, is they pay for the possibilities. It's the transformation from where they are to where they're going to get to. And it's that possibility when they know, like, and trust you, because that hasn't changed. The principles of success in business have not changed. But when they like, trust, and know your company, they buy into the possibilities of what's on the other side. I listen to the Masters of Business podcast. Maybe you listen to it because of the possibilities of getting one good idea that you could use that can help your company, your business, your life, so you can be a better person, your family benefits, your community benefits, and others. So focus not on what you're selling, focus on the transformation and the possibilities. That's how the other person benefits. And when you do that, that's where the impact is. That's where the change happens. And that's where the sales message is even more important today than it's ever been in the history of me being in business. Not only been here, 56 years, so I haven't been here forever, but I've been here longer than some people. So what that just means that I've seen a few things. And that's my perspective.
No, this is good. No, this is good, Shay. And I know we're right at that moment where we got to get ready to sign off. I hate to do that, man. I mean, because I got a whole list of other questions I could ask you. But so what I will ask you, though, is to give us, because again, when we're talking about easysaleshub.com and a lot of the clients and even the case studies that you share with us, these businesses have already probably met this six-figure plateau, or they yeah, more than likely they have six-figure, multiple six-figure, and they're heading into the million. So my advice, I want you to give us some advice for those. I think you've already done an excellent job of helping us to get to that six-figure mark, right? What is the mindset we need to have? What is the processes? Some of the things we need to consider. You've done an excellent job. So make sure that you go back, those who are watching this video, and go back and extract those nuggets that Shay has been sharing with us to get you to this level to where you can really take advantage of something like easysaleshub.com. So I want you to give us one piece of advice that you would give someone who's looking to scale from that six figures to that seven figures. What would be that piece of advice that you would give them?
Sure. So when it comes to scaling the business, for myself, I'll speak for me first, and then what we've done with other clients. I wouldn't focus on so much how do I scale. That wouldn't be the question I would ask. I'd reframe that, and the question is a legitimate question. So I'm not saying Brother Beth asked the wrong question. I'm just saying for the sales department, your accounting department wants you to scale. The sales department wants you to help more folks. I'll give you an example. For so long, I used to beat myself up because I just wanted to get to $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And some years I get there, some years I don't. I can live very comfortably on $800,000, by the way. Life's okay for me, okay? I mean, if you keep your bills to a certain, you can live comfortably today on $200,000, to be honest with you. But I beat myself up until I got there, and it was all about the deals, all about the money. And I wasn't greedy, but I just felt like I was a failure because very few people can get to $1 million in the coaching industry. Very few, okay? And what I realized, a conversation I was having with my mentor, his name is Jason Fenwick, for those that may know him, by the way. And I said something to him. I said, Jason, I got to stop chasing the money and add value. And I believe the money will chase me. This is why you pay me. I'm thinking to myself, I said it. But, you have coaches because, I guess you play things outside. So what I would share with you, if you want to scale first, I would say, don't chase the money. I know it sounds counterintuitive. Don't chase the money. Add value, and the money will chase you. Now, how do you add value? Well, you find yourself in a way that you can give more than expected. This within the reason and within the profit margins that allows them to have a great experience with you at the highest level possible. And for some, that might be the right way, right? And the reason I say it might be the right way is because for some of you, it's not about the money at all. You're doing this as a hobby, and that's cool. So you can stand to the side. But for those folks that want to grow, you might be asking the question that I'd be asking the sales department was, how do we add more value? We're given more than is expected. I would say the number one challenge that the sales department has is finding people who have an interest, want, or desire. They're never qualified. Most people say, well, if I get in front of more qualified people, well, before they're qualified, you have to be able to meet them. Once you meet them, then you determine if they can either do one or two things. Put these in your notes. This is how you get to $1 million, by the way. Do one or two things. The people you meet can either purchase your products or services, and this is the missing piece, Brother Bedford. This is what we bring to the masters of business. They can either purchase your product or service, or they could be a referral, and they might know someone else who could use your products or services, but not today. And so many times that's left on the table, and they don't have a lead generation goal. They are not tracking what they do. We do have something called the CEO Sales Dashboard. That's for those folks to go to the website. You can get that. There's no cost. But here's what I want to say. What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets better. Measure and manage the leads that are coming into your CRM on a daily basis. And then underneath that, measure those that are qualified, because if they're not, that's okay. And then measure those that may have come through collaborations, which is one of our 12 rules for life. Collaboration crushes competition. Okay. Success of the team sport through collaborations. And third, and most importantly, those that came through referrals, not referrals that could buy, but you talked to someone and said, I just want them to know, or another entrepreneur know my company's on the planet. And I want to know what they're doing as well. Because in some cases, you don't have to be the answer to everyone's problem. It's just as profitable to be the bridge. So I could know Brother Bedford, and I may know someone else who can use Brother Bedford's services, and I put those two together. Maybe Brother Bedford sends me a check, right? And so if you want to scale to 6 figures a month, and really 7 figures is the goal, because 6 figures was a big deal 20 years ago. Okay, let's be honest. Prices have gone up, inflation's gone up. Everything's gone up probably for many of you, but your revenue. And that's a problem, okay? So, take a look at how do you add more value? How do you get the right client in place? When you put the two together, the money will come. Don't focus on that. Now, you do need it. And in sales, we do measure it, okay? What gets measured gets managed. What gets managed gets what? Better. So powerful people ask powerful questions. The question I ask every day, if you want to get to $1 million, and how do I get in front of more people who have an interest, want, or desire? Now, it could come from the sales department. It could be from the marketing. It could be from the branding. But you got to measure that in the sales department every day. If we do that and we focus on that CRM, the rest will take care of itself. I believe that. It's worked for me and many of my clients. If not, you're stressed out every day because you can't force anybody to buy anything.
Yeah.
You really can't. At least I don't teach those skills.
No, this is awesome, man.
Back over to you, Brother Bedford.
Yeah, this has been great, Shay. No, thank you so much for all of this sales wisdom that you've been imparting to us today. And so I really want to make sure that everyone, all of those names, in addition to just the value that you're receiving from Shay Brown today in terms of sales, and really a whole bunch, just really business and running your company. I mean, he's dropping a lot of nuggets that you really have to take your time and digest this and take your notes. But in addition to that, he's mentioned some very powerful instructors in their own right that I would advise, if you get an opportunity, to look up Jason, Dr. Willie Jolly, and a few others that Shay has mentioned. You would do yourself well to begin to develop your own personal library of people who you can glean some knowledge and some wisdom and some experiences from to incorporate into your own life and your own business. And so definitely follow all of those names, but definitely for the purposes of this interview, definitely go to easysaleshub.com. Is there any other sites or anything else you want to share with the audience before we sign off, Shay?
Yeah, there's two things I would share. For those folks that are watching, he's giving me the website. If you're listening right now, you're an entrepreneur and you know that this is your moment. You know, this is your time. It's not your fault. I'm glad that Brother Bedford's having this conversations. For many of you, you may have never talked to a chief sales officer at my level or been in this type of conversation where we're focused on building your sales department, or in many cases, outsourcing your sales team too. I would suggest, and I'm going to throw out a different site just to break things up a little bit, but you can go over to sales sprint strategysession.com, just salesstrategysession.com. Sorry, salesstrategysession.com. You can go there, or easysaleshub.com. Book an appointment. Just go to Easy Sales Hub. That's easy. easysaleshub.com. Book an appointment. Let's have a conversation to focus on your sales strategy. Now, what's the worst case scenario if you show up for the meeting? Worst case scenario is a couple minutes. You decide it's not a good use of your time and you move on and you've lost 4 or 5 minutes of your time. That's the worst case scenario. What's the best case scenario? Well, the best case scenario is we have a conversation. Best case scenario is we customize one idea specifically for you. And that one idea, your business process, and as a result, not only do you generate revenue, but you have more impact in humanity, and you make a greater difference in the world. And that becomes one of the legacy pieces you leave behind. So go over to Easy Sales Hub, EASY. Say, let's book an appointment. Let's have a conversation. I'd like to know more about you and what you're doing.
This is great, Shay. Thank you so much, Shay, for your time, and this has been greatly appreciated. And we got to have a part 2 because there's some nuggets that you shared that I'm sure we'll get some questions and we'll come back and do some clarifying for some people. So thank you so much, Shay. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Masters of Business is really making a difference in the world. It's changing entrepreneurs every single day, and I can't believe you have this, but I'm glad you do. Tune in and share this with one of your friends real soon. Thanks a lot, Brother Bedford.
Thank you, Shay. We'll talk to everybody again real soon. Take care, everybody. See you in the next conversation.